Hey folks, it's Lauren from Snowy's here with the Exped Ultra Pump.
Hit it.
Weighing only 100 grams, this little pump has an integrated lamp, a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, and a flow rate of 80 litres per minute. Hold up fam, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any awesome content on the Snowy's channel. Let's get into it. So your little Ultra Pump is around about 100 grams and it measures about 6 centimetres tall by about just under 5 centimetres sort of in diameter, I guess. It's not a perfect circle there. It's mostly made from plastic and we've got a couple of silicone buttons and a power cover here, and we've also got our little metal hook at the top. Now the hook itself there's no immediate way to open that. However, it can be slightly pushed out to be fully removed if you want, or if you're also wanting to hook it over a lantern hook, or you've got a fabric loop or something you want to fit it in, you can easily pop that out and thread it through like so. Now we have on the side here our inflate and our deflate ends, and that's going to be located on both sides of the pump as well. And on the back here, we have our power button, and we've also got our little charging port here. Now that is a USB-C charging port, and it's protected by this little silicone dust cover. On the top here, we've got our little output or that's our actual intake, I should say, of air. And then on this end, we've got our output of air. This little frosted ring around the side also has a bunch of LED lights on the inside too. And I will show you those in just a minute. Now the pump comes with its own little storage bag and your charging cable, USB charging cable that goes to USB-A. So if you've already got like a charging box for your mobile phones, or even just in your car through a cigarette output, that's the cable for you. It also comes with a couple of green adapters that are going to be specific for your Exped mat. And then there's also a couple of extra little silicone tubes. They're not for anything specific, but they do give you a fair bit of flexibility in terms of making this pump work with a range of different types of mat valves. Now the operation of the pump itself is very simple. If we're wanting to activate the light, we're just pressing the power button here. It's just a singular button, so pressing and holding for the light to come on. Now it has 3 different settings. That's low, which is 60 lumens. Then a single press brings us up to medium, which is 160 lumens. And then another single press is high, which is 300 lumens. And then another press to get it off again. So it's one long press for the light, and then we're just single click cycle through those different height settings. Now to get the pump activated, we're going to do 2 quick presses, and that's going to activate the pump. Now, as you can see, the pump itself is very loud, but it does make short work of your mattresses. So I'm just going to turn this one off. And we're going to have a look at these green Exped specific attachments. Now this one here is best worked onto your inflate. So it's got a couple of different ridges there, which is going to help it to lock in to your inflate valve. So when we push that one in like so, it's going to hold itself in position, and you can hear that click and it locks it into place. So that can be connected to any Exped inflate valves like so. So the little catch is, and I've done this a few times already testing it out, if you pull it straight off, the attachment piece is going to come off inside the valve. So what you're going to want to do is pulling it off just as a bit of an angle, and it should pop off like so. So the valve, as you can see, the little attachment is still a bit of on an odd angle there, but yes, that's how good the connection or the seal is with the inflate valve on the mat with this particular connector. Now in terms of the deflate side of things, now depending on the sort of mat you use, so there's a couple of different valves with the Exped. Now the inflate ones are almost entirely the same in the sense that they've got their little one-way green flow valve, which you can see here on the mega mat, and up here on the down mat as well, we've got exactly the same inflate valve. Now, depending on the kind of mat you use, you may have a deflate valve that looks like this with a little red silicone flange in it, or you might have a deflate valve that has got nothing in it. which is on like the Versa down mat, Sin mat, things like that, where the air is going to completely rush out. Now, in this case, the deflate is not necessarily going to be as important as if you've got a self-inflating mat with foam inside and you might need a bit of help. But it can, when you've got insulation and stuff inside the mat and puffy and you really want to get that pack size down in your hiking pack, it can be helpful to attach that like so. The catch with these particular sorts of mats is because there's not any self-inflating foam and the two layers of the mat are quite close together, the power of the pump on deflate can suck that bottom layer up and block off the hole. So in the situation that we've got with this particular mat, it's best to use the pump on deflate as an assist whilst you're also rolling the air up, which is going to keep pressure around this valve and stop those two bits of the material connecting together. So we'll just do a quick run through here as a demonstration and hopefully we can get this one working well. So as you can see, the pump on deflate there has given me a fair amount of assistance here to roll up this mat. That's quite heavily insulated as well. So these are the sort of mats that you might have a bit of trouble getting your pack size down. And that's where this little deflate function comes in handy. On the inverse of that, I'm going to show you how quickly it will inflate these mats up. Moving my little valve over to the inflate side. I'll set a timer on my watch as well, actually. Alrighty, so that's about a minute 39, so a minute and a half to fully inflate this Exped down mat, which is a nice thick, sort of 10 centimetre-ish thick mat. It's really heavily insulated and it's a great option for sort of hybrid camping as well as hiking. Now, the other really important question that we get with a lot of these little pumps is whether or not they're going to work with a larger monster mat. Now that's where this other little valve comes in that Exped have done here. Now this is going to work with this different kind of deflate valve. As you can see here, we've got this big orange flange. If we were to use the attachment like this, for example, it's going to just push against that particular red flange. No air is going to come out. So swapping over to this one on the deflate side, we can see this little attachment that we've got here has a pin in the center that sits a little bit higher, and we've got these two little clips here. They're going to allow the pump to sit inside the valve like so, and the little red pin is going to keep the center of the deflate flange pushed in, which means that the air is going to be able to lift up the edges of the flange here and suck the air out from around the edge. Now this little particular pump is designed for backpacking mats and it does have a flow rate of 80 litres per minute. So we'll just see whether or not it's got the juice to suck this one down. So as you can see, just doing a really quick little roll here, I reckon that was maybe only about 30 or 40 seconds in real time. The mat's fairly well compressed and that's barely any effort from myself there with the assistance of that little pump. Now in terms of the capacity of pumping up our little Exped mat or our Exped Mega mat, we'll swap our attachments over. So we're just about past the 2-minute mark and that's, yeah, about 2 minutes 15 there. So that's a well pumped Exped mat there, inflated to quite a nice firm feeling on the mat at just over 2 minutes. So whilst it is a backpacking pump or it's aimed at little backpacking mats, it obviously does have the power required to deal with your camping mats. Now, the only point I probably want to make on that is that it has a runtime of around about 25 minutes, has a little 1600 milliamp battery on the inside, and it has a charge time of around about 3 hours. So it might not have the runtime that you need to do a whole family's worth of camping mats. So looking at a Cedar Summit, this is a self-inflating mat that we've got here. Cedar Summit is the other most popular sort of hiking mat that we have, and a really common question with a range of the pumps, especially the other Exped widget pump, is whether or not it's going to work with the Cedar Summit valves. So Cedar Summit have like a twist valve, so that's their inflate and their deflate here. So whilst the actual widget pump doesn't, not widget, sorry, the little Ultra Pump doesn't fit sort of perfectly in when we're wanting to deflate on the Cedar Summit valve. It can, if you're using the original Exped attachment there, you can sort of hold it up against the Cedar Summit valve. And if I do a quick double press, I'll just give you an example of how this one deflates, just holding it up against the mat. So as you can see, the mat's already starting to deflate fairly efficiently. I do have to hold it in place because it doesn't attach, but just holding it up against the valve is doing the job that we want it to do. So I'm not going to go for the full deflate on that one. Just wanted to give you an example there. Inversely, if we're going to twist this back around and we want to do a bit of inflating, the Exped connection will actually fit into the Cedar Summit valve for inflating, but you just have to give it a bit of a jiggle and it will inflate like so. And again, that's just going to make quite short work of that mat there. So that is about it for the Exped Ultra Pump. You can get this at snowies.com.au at our low prices every day.